This is Don Clark of FM Database Consulting and FileMakerProGurus.com, and today we're at DEVCON 2016 in Las Vegas at the Cosmo. We're in our suite here and we're doing interviews, and today it's with Todd Geist. Everybody in the FileMaker community knows you, Todd, I'm sure. And we're going to be talking about all the things that you've been doing, and you've been a busy guy. So Todd Geist, everybody knows Geist Interactive, GeistInteractive.com. So tell me how things are going for your conference here.
Well, it's been great. We've been pretty busy. We got a booth, and that's been going really well. A lot of activity going on there. We released a new product maybe a month and a half ago.
FM Perception?
FM Perception. It's getting a lot of great buzz.
I've heard a lot about it. In fact, on almost every interview, somebody's brought it up.
That's great. It's fantastic. That's been it's been something we wanted ourselves for a long time. Is the ability to get information about our code quickly.
Yes.
And the tools that were out there were great and very thorough, but they all took a lot of time to get you just the very basic information that you might want. So things like...
Tell me why yours is different.
Well, so for example, if you're coding and you come across a global variable that might be misspelled, for example, a double $sign global variable, and you want to fix it, well, you can't fix it there because it might be used other places in your system, right? It could be on a merge field, or right? It could be anywhere, right? So you want to know where it's used, and you want to know now, like not 30 minutes from now. Not you want to know now. So that's really what FM Perception can do. We have built-in keyboard commands that will let you automatically run the DDR and refresh our interface that shows that DDR in a nice, easily navigatable interface.
I've seen a small example of it. I'm trying to remember who the heck showed it to me, and it was very impressive. It was very fast. Yeah, it's very fast.
I mean, certainly larger solutions will take longer, of course, but for most average solutions, you're pretty much within a few seconds. You can see that data and get the answer to that question.
Yeah, I had a guy in here from Australia, Western Australia. I don't know if you know Gordon Cox. In Rich. He bought it, I guess, right away, and he says he loves it. Man, it just saves a lot of time.
It does, and the main thing is it makes sure that you can stay in your development mode, right? Because if you load all this information in your brain when you're working, and you don't want to dump that and have to wait for a long time to be able to get the answer to that question. You want to just be able to keep going. So to be able just to get the answer to that question and keep going right where you were is really the key thing. So it doesn't stop your flow, really.
That's really important. It's hard to get people to understand when you're deep into the code.
You do not want to stop and do something else.
You don't want a phone call. You don't want
a phone call. You don't want to wait. You need information. You need it now. So that's been generating a lot of buzz, and people have been very excited about that. And we get a lot of traffic at the booth. And then I also gave a couple of presentations earlier in the week, and those are also getting a lot of buzz. So we're very excited about that.
What are the other ones? I know you did one on the JavaScript.
Yep. JavaScript is eating the world. Right. Because JavaScript has become pretty much the de facto language of the internet of Things, and its reach is so incredibly broad, and it's not really widely discussed, but it works great with FileMaker. In fact, it's the only language that has native support in all of FileMaker Pro's different environments. So it works in WebDirect, it works in Pro, and it works in Go. And that's because every one of those things has a nice web viewer, and those web viewers can run JavaScript.
Beautifully. If you can load the library,
that's right. Golden. You've got a lot of things you can do. So it already natively supports JavaScript, and then if you add custom web publishing on that using something like Node.js, you have an incredible amount of power. And so that's pretty much what I covered in that talk.
That's great, and based on the things we not allowed to officially discuss, but still the direction FileMaker has been going has been towards greater interoperability.
I mean,
with the web, with JavaScript, with curl, with the REST FM, like REST FM itself. I've used that, and then we have like base elements with doing things for parsing JSON or parsing SOAP requests and things like that. So but some of that stuff's coming to FileMaker, I hope, in the future, and that'll be nice.
It's really important to be able to reach out and touch other things today, because there's just so many resources available out there that our clients are using, right? And we have to be able to interact with those things.
I mean, for a good example is when somebody's using some kind of system, they're using online invoicing or something, and you need to have FileMaker talk to that as well as to their website and other things. You're going to have to speak several languages. coding languages to make it work.
Yep, and most of those things are now reachable all with JavaScript. So if you want to learn how to extend FileMaker, JavaScript is just maybe, I mean, in our opinion, the best way to do it, because it just gives you such an incredibly broad reach. So that was the first talk. The second talk was on the iOS SDK, which is a neat way to package up your FileMaker Go apps as native apps.
Right.
And I was focusing there on this concept of the launcher file, which is really simple. And but if you hadn't thought about it, it may be kind of interesting. So the idea there is that you don't bundle anything but a single file into your app. So the only thing that gets put into that app package is a single file, and that file's only job is to launch the rest of your solution. And what that does,
FileMaker Go?
Yeah, well, no, it builds a native app, so
Okay.
it'll launch whatever the rest of your solution is inside that native app.
Okay.
So it doesn't launch FileMaker Go or FileMaker Pro. It launches.
What have you written in Xcode?
It's not Xcode. So the interesting thing about the iOS SDK, I mean, you need Xcode to build the app,
Right.
but you're building FileMaker Go. You're working with
Okay.
FileMaker.
All right.
It's 100% FileMaker. When you get ready to package it, you can run it through this simple Xcode thing, and what comes out the other end is a native application. There's no FileMaker Go involved at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
It's no longer FileMaker
Right,
Go. It is
exactly.
your application. However, it opens and runs FileMaker files. So with the launcher file, instead of bundling all your files into that application, you simply bundle the launcher, and the launcher doesn't do anything other than launch the other solution files that you have, maybe your main interface file, or maybe booting it off the server, but whatever, wherever it happens to be. And what that means is that you can change the interface and the logic and the rest of your solution without having to recompile that.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I didn't get to go hardly any sessions, though. I had one opportunity yesterday, and it didn't. Well, yours wasn't on there. That's one of the ones I wanted to see.
Yeah, it's a really simple concept that we discussed, and so that one was also pretty neat. I think the thing that I'm most happy about with those sessions, I mean, I thought the content went well and people seemed to like it, but I took an approach where I did almost all of both of those sessions was live coding. Not a lot of slides, very few packaged demonstrations, just a lot of, I'm going to sit down here in front of you and just code, and I'm going to make mistakes and things are going to break and we're going to fix them. And I set that kind of a challenge to myself.
Said it was really intense, a lot of coding.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of coding, and I was a little worried that it might be overwhelming for people. But actually, a lot of the feedback I've gotten has been very positive, because I think, and it was kind of my idea, that when you practice like all presenters do, and I do, even when I'm preparing for a session like this, do a lot of practicing. It's really important. But when you present something finished that's so polished, sometimes the effect is a person who might be out there new or learning is like, I just could never do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
you missed the steps.
That just worked. It worked so beautifully. I don't understand all the things they did, or just, whenever I code, things don't work like that. And that's because when you give a presentation, in some sense, it's a lie, right? Because you practice. It's not actually sitting down and programming something, learning to code. So because when you do that, when you're actually coding, you make mistakes. Things don't work. You have to debug. That's reality.
And then you have to figure out what happened.
You have to figure out what happened. You got to fix it.
Sometimes you got to sit there and beat your head on the keyboard
sometimes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of show that's really, that's how it actually gets done. And it was scary because sometimes you hit bugs, you hit things that you can't figure out inside that demo window that we have.
You only have an hour or 50 minutes. Yeah, 50
you only have an hour. So if you really get stuck, there's no way out. So it's a little bit of a risk, but I enjoyed it, and based on the feedback, I think the people came enjoyed it.
Tell me how you got started in FileMaker.
Back in the 1990s, I was a medical research guy. I worked in a big research hospital in St. Louis, Washington University Medical School, and I was doing a lot of bench research, tracking a lot of data, and I needed a database to do it. I didn't even know what a database was really, but I started using HyperCard around 1990, and used that for a couple of years. And sometime around 92 or so, I switched to FileMaker 2, and I ended up writing a whole laboratory management system in FileMaker over the next few years. And in 1997, I left academics and just went out as a FileMaker developer, and I've pretty much been doing that ever since.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's been almost 20 years now.
It's interesting how people get to. I love to hear the stories about how people get to FileMaker, because it's usually something like that.
Yes. So
either somebody said fix this.
Yeah.
You know, here's our problem, and hey, we heard about this software.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you did it back then.
Yeah.
There weren't a lot of other options. You know, there wasn't an internet. You know,
Yeah.
really. I mean, we had actually the university that I was at the time, at the medical school.
DARPANET or something.
We actually had a very good early internet on a modem, and it was really good. But it was only for the only for the faculty and staff
bulletin
and
boards
things like that.
and some
Yeah,
email,
stuff like that. Very
basic
early
email,
stuff. Yeah, we had email. Of course, email was big, but there was no internet. There was nothing like that. And so you built it. You built it yourself. And after a few years of doing that and doing the research, I just decided I liked that more. So I guess I've been doing FileMaker since '92, which is, you know, a number of years back, and then professionally since '97. So.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I started in '89, but I've had 3-4 people in here though this time around who started in '85.
Yeah.
And I had Mike Beergy in here yesterday too, by the way. He says he's been using FM Perception.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And,
he was an early adopter.
Early adopter.
Yeah.
He said so he was really raving about it as well. So that's pretty interesting stuff to me to hear that kind of thing. So what's your favorite? I mean, you obviously have JavaScript in FileMaker. Do you have a favorite plugin or any tool that you use other than FM Perception? I mean,
I mean that's kind of our go-to development tool. The other, I mean, we're big fans of the Base Elements plugin.
Right.
It's kind of funny, you know, Base Elements is a competitor of FM Perception, but we're actually very friendly. Nick and I were hanging out in the Chandelier Bar last night, and I've been a big supporter of the Base Elements plugin for a number of years, and helped get JavaScript into that plugin because that plugin can execute JavaScript. And based on that, we wrote some JSON custom functions that are great, and they've been a big help in our work. And so Base Elements is pretty much is in every one of our projects. It's a great plugin. It's free, and you know Nick's just done a great job with that.
Yeah, he has. I've never met him.
Yeah, his booth's right next to ours, so it's kind of funny. You know, here we are competitors, but we're right next to each other. But he's a great guy.
I got back by the other day or something. And I've got some guys coming from Listerius today at noon, and then Tim Sambura this afternoon. So I may have
I was just talking with those
sneak
guys.
down in there for a few minutes, so see what's going on. So tell me a little bit. What do you do for fun?
Well, I live right up against the Santa Monica Mountains down in Southern California, on the other end of the mountain range from where the Hollywood sign is, so it's about 25-30 miles down.
Okay.
Out in a little town called Newbury Park, and so we're right up against the Santa Monicas, and so I do some trail running up there. I like to do that. I'm getting into yoga, which has been really fun.
How do you like that?
It's been great.
My son just got into it in a big way, and I'm thinking about it. So.
I'm enjoying it. I've taken it on and off over the years, but just recently kind of gotten the bug, so that's been good. And I'm kind of, I do a lot of reading. I'm a big reader, but I'm really
What's your favorite genre?
I've read a lot of science fiction, fantasy.
Ooh, good.
Yeah, like I read Lord of the Rings. Before I was 21, I read it 18 times.
Wow.
I would just read it pretty much continuously around the clock. So, yeah, I was pretty excited when the movies came out.
I'm a big science fiction fan too, but a lot of Isaac Asimov.
Yeah, I read all that stuff too.
Yeah.
And
I've been reading a lot of recent stuff. There's a lot of neat stuff coming out on Kindle. A lot of new authors coming out.
Yeah. It wouldn't probably otherwise get out.
No, and some of them are pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's good. There's a lot of interesting stuff happening out there. So I'm kind of a tech nut. I read a lot of tech. JavaScript is really interesting just in terms of its evolution, because it doesn't really have a corporate body that controls it. It's all run as an open source project.
Yeah.
And it's just fascinating watching thousands of people that have no hierarchy get things done. I mean, that's just neat.
Somehow it works.
And I think it's not pretty. It's things go off in tangents, and there are fights, and people yell and scream. But the best projects find a way to keep going. And do they have versions of it? I don't pay much attention to it. I haven't. Yeah. So
I know it's there, and I've done some stuff with it, and I was integrated into most browsers. But is there a version control? Or?
Oh yeah, all that stuff is managed. But there are the two basic varieties of JavaScript. The JavaScript that runs in the browser, and that finally, after many years, is pretty consistent across all the major browsers, which is really great. And then there's Node.js, which is server-side JavaScript, and that's really been just really exploding over the last few years. And just watching that evolve, and I've just been fascinated by it. I mean, we use it, so there's that aspect, but just there's such a human component to it that I just find fascinating. A couple years ago, there was a major fork with Node, so a bunch of people got mad at the other people and just said, we're going to go over here and do it our own way, and they did, and they took it over there. But through an open collaboration process, they were able to bring everything back together, and as a result, the project's much better.
Wow!
And so, watching that happen is just really interesting, because I see that as applicable to the broader world, right? I mean, there's over 7 billion people on this planet, and we have to figure out how to live together, you know?
Yeah.
And so you watch these things work without a lot of corporate structure or rules, and yet we figure it out. So I just find it fascinating.
Generally speaking, with guys that are coding, you have pretty rational minds. There's always some.
Well, I don't know. You should read some of these. You should read some of these blog posts. Some may be more rational than others, but anyway. So I spent a lot of time reading about that and just following that, maybe more than I should. And my wife and I also started a nonprofit learning center, which is we think of it as a school. The kids who go there think of it as a school. But it's technically not a school. We don't have transcripts or grades or anything like that.
Certified, that type of thing.
And we don't want to be, because the certification processes and then going after public money means a whole lot of red tape and strings attached.
You lose a lot of control too.
That's right. And so the school was opened in response to all of that, in response to how difficult it is to actually educate kids. I mean, we have great respect for public school teachers and administrators. My wife was one for many years, but the reality of trying to get things done in a huge bureaucracy like that is really, I have tremendous respect for the people who try, because it is a really difficult process. And at the end of the day, you know, some kids just get left out. They just get missed because they don't fit within that middle third that schools work really well for. And so we started this nonprofit learning center. We're going into our 6th year, and it's been going great. We try to keep our costs as low as we can by asking for donations, and in fact, I always do to the FileMaker community. I send out little notices, and people have always been really great about supporting the school. So that's been neat. Yeah.
What's the name of the foundation?
Our foundation is One Spark Foundation. And
I remember reading about it, and I apologize, I didn't do my homework this morning.
No, that's okay.
It's on your website.
That's okay. Yeah, it's there, and we do. Mostly it's just around the academy, but we do have a broader foundation which could be focused on other things. So you know, that's also very important. And then I've got my dogs, and like to spend a lot of time with them. Yeah. So I guess the other thing that was really interesting at this DEVCON was they announced a new FBA Partner Council, which is this new 9-member council that will facilitate communication between the broader community and FileMaker.
Did you get on the council?
Yeah, so there's 9 of us there, and 9 outside members and 4 members from FileMaker. And so we're going to be meeting on a regular basis to just help communicate between the communities. I think there's been a misperception that FileMaker hasn't been listening. They have been doing, and especially in recent years, there's been a lot of listening going on, but there wasn't a lot of public information about that listening. Right, it was mostly through.
The feedback isn't there that they are listening. I've seen that they're listening. I've seen the direction of supporting developers more. Business community more and things like that.
But it wasn't done in a very public way, and it was mostly done because some of us have been around long enough to develop relationships, and so we have all these unofficial ways of getting words across. And of course, the FileMaker folks are here, and they always want to listen to customers and get as much information as they can, but there was a perception, and I feel it was a misperception, especially recently, that they weren't listening as much as they could.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and so this council is an attempt to kind of formalize that process, so people know that it's going on, and know the people who are on it that are helping keep that loop going, and so that's been great. And we had our first meeting here, and I'm just thrilled to be on it. So it's been a neat thing.
Oh, who else is on it? Do you know?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people. I think they're going to be putting up a website that'll have all the names, and these are all individuals. These aren't company designations exactly, but from all over the world. So there's 9 people.
People are going to be able to talk to you guys.
They can, they'll be able to ask us if they know, but just the basic idea is that most of the people that are on it are very well known. All of them are, especially in their geographic regions. Yeah. And so, we're going to be going to bat. Basically, that's our job.
Great.
Is to go to bat for the developer community, and to help FileMaker maybe message back to the community and in ways that are maybe a little more effective than they have in the past. And I always felt it was a misperception, but I think having this channel be out there and be public will make it clear to people that it's really happening.
So you're pretty positive about the direction FileMaker is
Absolutely,
taking going forward?
absolutely.
Because I hear a lot of rumble about that. The pricing structure, the licensing structures,
Well, here's the deal. FileMaker's been around for a long time, and they have an incredible amount of software code that they have to manage, and they have to migrate into modern systems and change as the times change. They also have a licensing model that has to change over time, right? The times have changed. We no longer sell things. We no longer sell things in boxes in computer stores. There aren't computer stores, right? I mean, when I first bought FileMaker, I'd go to a store that only sold software, right? And those don't exist. Those don't exist. So I mean, that was the old days, and they've been migrating over time to new ways of selling it.
Everybody's doing that subscription model. I mean, that's just how you do it. It's either open source or subscription model.
It is a good way to do it, but it's not going to be something that can just be like, we're just draw a line, and from this point forward, we're going to do it this way. That just doesn't work. It doesn't work for customers. It doesn't work for FileMaker.
No, their transition's taken two plus years.
It's going to take a transition, and I expect that FileMaker will continue to adjust all that licensing until it's making sense for them and for us. I've heard the grumblings about it too, but I think it's definitely moving in the right direction, and
some of the things I've talked about this week, there's been quite a nice, from the developer's perspective, of being able to take care of your clients. There's a lot of nice things coming.
Yeah, it's I'm thrilled. In fact, I've never been more excited about the direction of FileMaker, and I can honestly say that. I've been doing it for, like I said, over 2 decades, but I've been involved with working with the folks at FileMaker for over 10 years, maybe going on, well, at least 10 years, let's say, and I've never been more excited with the direction. They have great people there, and they're working really hard, and they're just doing a lot of great stuff, and we're going to start to see those benefits really start to accrue over the next few years, and it's just awesome. So I guess the only other thing I would say is that we just hired a new VP of professional services, and that's David Graham, and he's down a little further south from me in San Diego, and one of the reasons we did that is because of the opportunity that we think we're going to get with FileMaker, that we have, and that we think is going to get better. So we wanted to grow, and so
that was you hired him?
Yeah.
Okay,
So Dave's on board now, and he's going to be responsible for all of our custom development side, and because we just think it's an awesome opportunity.
Do you do a lot of developing still?
Yeah, we do. I do a lot of it, and I've been very into the product development as well. So all the different products that we do. But now having Dave on board is going to be just an awesome opportunity for us, because he can focus on the custom development, the FileMaker stuff.
That's a great business decision for pulling somebody in to help in that area.
Yeah,
you can't do everything.
No, you can't. And we have a small team, but we're going to try to get bigger, and really we wouldn't do that if it wasn't for what we see coming from FileMaker, and just the awesome power that the whole platform has. It's great. I'm thrilled.
So, it's interesting when I talk to different people in these things. I learn some. I've got one guy, it was Christo from Excel. He doesn't develop anymore. He's I'm afraid to touch FileMaker.
He hasn't done it in a long time. Running Excelisys, and
but he's got a whole bunch of people working for him. He's got a bunch of and he still works with the clients. Doing some of the stuff in terms of problem solving or setting up the systems. In terms of the logic behind that kind of thing, but not the actual coding.
But they've done very well.
We go from that to where someone like you does quite a bit of coding, and I've met people all the way in between.
I don't think I'll ever stop coding. I really love doing it. So, but I need to get some more help.
You got to run your business.
I've got to run the business too. So
you got to work on your business and in your business. And if you don't work on your business enough, your business will go away.
That's true. That's true.
Well, thanks very much. Do you have anything else you'd like to add? I mean, you've been pretty vocal here and had a lot of great things to say, and I really appreciate you stopping by.
The only thing I'd say is if this goes out before the end of the month, there's a coupon code available at our website on our blog that will get you 20% off all of our products.
I'll put that on the blog. It won't go out before the end of the month
Okay.
because we got a lot of processing.
All right.
there.
Well, so maybe that won't make it, but
Yeah, but it's all right. So,
but stay tuned. We got lots of cool stuff coming, and both in terms of products and training videos and things like that.
okay. Well, all right. This is Don Clark with FileMakerProGurus.com. We had Todd Geist today on, and thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks
Appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks.